Hey folks, and welcome to the Daily Ratings Podcast. It's a show where each week we're going to be sitting down with Vincent Daly to get his thoughts on the latest movies he's been watching, both older films and new releases. And don't worry, there's no spoilers. Vince will give a brief review of the movie, share some thoughts, and of course, then rate the film. The daily ratings are always fair, honest, and most importantly, they're consistent. On today's show, Vince will be rating and reviewing. We have 3 new movies here for you folks. So, we are covering Good Fortune, that's directed by Aziz Ansari. We're then covering Catherine Bigelow's A House of Dynamite, that's going to be out on Netflix this Friday. And then finally, we're covering Black Phone 2, and that's directed by Scott Derrickson. So, let's get Vincent Daly in the room, hear what he has to say about these 3 movies. Stay tuned and enjoy the show. Vincent Daly, how are we doing across the table?
Thomas, how's it going?
It's going okay. How was your week, my friend?
New movie week right here. Got another 3 new ones.
I know we're pumping up. We are hitting the new movies this year.
Yeah, we're hitting the numbers.
There's really not a lot falling through the cracks, I don't think.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I think if we did a catch up, I mean, maybe sometime in December, we'll see. But we're hitting all of them.
Yeah, we're doing pretty well.
So, did not hit After the Hunt though. I know last episode. I said I was going to cover After the Hunt and wasn't covering Black Phone. I don't know if we actually made mention of Black Phone or not.
I don't think so. It wasn't on your. Not that it wasn't on your radar.
Yeah,
you just weren't looking forward to it.
Yeah, I just didn't want to cover it.
Right.
But swapped them because honestly, I mean, really haven't covered much spooky stuff for October.
Yeah.
After the Hunt was getting some almost universally bad reviews.
It was not doing so great.
Yeah.
Maybe with Luca, we do the heavy hitters. If he's going to be pumping movies out this much, it's like, okay, so maybe a Good Fortune and Queer, we can kind of cut. But when it comes to Challengers, we'll watch the Challengers.
Yeah. Hard to tell, though, where it falls, though, with them. Because, I mean, this certainly has, like, a lot of celebrities behind it. You know, it's a slick-looking film, but...
It's getting torched.
Which I'm morbidly curious, but also, like, I don't care enough.
You don't feel like spending the time.
Yeah. I don't care enough. So, I mean, that goes back to, kind of our remaining of 2025 episode, folks. Like, you look at the storyline and... I mean, it's kind of been there, done that. I mean, we've gotten a lot of type of cancellation type of stories, certainly in like academia or like, positions of power and whatnot. It just feels like a little bit too late for the story, but...
And then I just hear kind of the writing is a little trash. Like the story setup is like, what are we doing here? I don't know. I'm not hearing great things.
Yeah.
I did draft it. I mean, I got it on the site ready to go.
We'll see that work, and we'll cover it down the road.
No, but that's all right. That's okay. Any opening notes, anything like that?
No.
What were you most looking forward to this week?
Well, definitely House of Dynamite, for sure.
Catherine Bigelow's first film in how many years?
I want to say a good solid 10 or 9. What Zero Dark 30 was the last?
No, it was one. I keep on having Chirac in my head, but it's not that Spike.
Yeah.
No, her last one was Detroit in 2017. 8 years is a long time.
Yeah, it is a long time.
And I mean, that has okay reviews, but nobody really talks about Detroit all that much.
Yeah.
But we were pumped to see this. It is coming out. Really, it's coming out on Friday on Netflix. So this is very, very new.
Yep.
But because Netflix has to do, it's got to spend 2 weeks in the theaters to be Oscar eligible. So they do a very limited release the 2 weeks before, which we were lucky enough to have a showing of us.
Yeah, and also kind of illuminated that we may have something closer for these type of smaller releases that we don't have to drive 40 minutes for.
You have. Vin and I went to a theater that we've never been to before.
Yeah.
We knew it existed.
Right.
But we just never got over there. And it was plenty acceptable.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Okay, all right. Well, let's start with the comedy. We'll start with Good Fortune. It didn't have a great box office. And After the Hunt, not a great box office.
Yeah.
Not doing so great here. But Good Fortune, it is a comedy. I was kind of surprised, but after watching the trailer, you were thinking that, you kind of wanted to see it.
I thought it was a charming trailer, yeah. I wanted to check it out.
So directed by Aziz Ansari, also starring him along with Keanu Reeves and what's his name, Seth Rogen.
Yep, and Keke Palmer. That's really like the whole. They have it. That's the cast.
That's a core cast.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. Well, why don't you just take it away? It's basically an hour and a half rated R comedy. So. Tell us a little bit about Good Fortune.
Well, folks, we're slowly getting back to comedies in the movie theaters once again, and surprisingly, this caught my eye with its trailer. It's the directorial debut for Aziz Ansari, who writes and stars in the film. And I guess depending on how terminally online you are, might be mid-controversy, which he's been trying to juggle on the press circuit. I really have no desire to dive into it much more than that.
No, well, he's been going through it for years. I think he's pretty much cleared for the most part.
No. Well, it's related to like some Saudi Arabian comedy festival.
Oh, he went to the festival.
Yes,
he was a part of that.
So,
okay, all right.
So that lining up with the press circuit he has to do for this film is he's just
juggling. Yeah, he's answering all kinds of questions.
Too raw, very very poor timing. I doubt that actually affected the box office for this.
No,
but poor timing as far as that being an awkward point.
Yeah, I didn't see interest in this film really at all.
Yeah.
While they were pitching it.
Yeah, but I think what interested me was that the premise of this film, it felt like something out of like the 80s or the 90s, letting the concept behind the comedy really be the driving force. This guardian angels premise. And I feel like that's interesting because when we talk about comedies coming back to the theaters, or at least like trying to revive comedies, these revivals always try to copy from the 2000s instead, the improv Apatow style that we talked plenty about on the podcast. It feels like they're trying to call back to that era. This is trying to call back to something older. To me, this felt like Ghost with Swayze.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe even more directly Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd, where it's got some emotion. It's maybe even got a message to say, but it's all lighthearted and really just wants to charm you. This kind of really falls in that category. So, regardless of the inspiration, Good Fortune is a feel-good comedy that takes a lot of our modern struggles, pokes fun at how absurd life can be before slapping a positive outlook on it. In the City of Angels, one angel, Gabriel, played by Keanu Reeves, is responsible for little more than saving people texting while driving. But he craves something more out of his ageless life and really wants to save someone in need. In the city, the gig economy has everyone struggling day to day, most of all Aziz, working for the kind of a hand-for-hire app called Task Sergeant and taking any job he can get by with. He lands a job as an assistant for Seth Rogen, playing a venture capital bro living polar opposite lifestyles that Aziz couldn't even begin to imagine. And Gabriel, eager to intervene, swaps the lives in order to show him the grass isn't always greener on the other side, but quickly he finds out that maybe money actually does solve all of your problems. I thought this was really cute, really charming, but just not outright funny. Absolutely charming, a good time. In its feel good objective, like what it wants to achieve. I would say, in hindsight, maybe that's apparent from the trailer that it wasn't going to be outright funny. But I was just hoping for a little more out of this, especially coming from a comedy talent directing. I think that was an interesting aspect here, that Ansari is directing, writing, and starring in it.
Right. And you have Rogen on deck.
Yeah.
Which has directed, and that's just his.
And coming off of a lot
field.
of success with, what was the show? The Studio?
The Apple show Studio. Yep.
Yeah. So, basically kind of in the same kind of LA environment as well. Yeah. So, it was just not really I wasn't really laughing at this movie at all. Yeah. It's like Snickers, it's cute, it's charming, but nothing really more than that, which is a little bit disappointing. All of the setup around the struggles of modern life, really great. I think especially if you've been to LA in the last 5 years, this really sells you on the idea that you may not be homeless, but there is still a massive divide in the life quality on what you earn as a paycheck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, LA really is, like, there's a huge divide of what type of daily life looks like in that city. I think some of the optimism in the script around this also felt like a bit of an eye roll time to time. But it really shows that the priorities here are always feel good first, where I think a handful of moments in this, they just could have been a lot funnier in another direction. Keke Palmer's character is a great example of this. One, Keke Palmer, talk about a talent. She is...
Yeah, what is she in? I know the name so well.
She's been in a lot of stuff. She has a lot of hosting gigs, but has been like coming around. I mean, I think she was a child star originally.
Okay.
Maybe like a Disney kid or something like that.
She was in Hustlers. She was in Nope.
Yeah.
Movie called Alice. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Nope. And it was great in Nope.
Right.
She's so naturally funny and charming in this, but I would say more than anyone, her character has to like kind of bear this, I don't want to say social message, but she has to bear the heavy lifting of like, this is trying to be positive about something that is, highlighting an issue ultimately. And I feel like just how her character could have been handled, there could have been something there that was just a little bit more traditionally funny rather than feel good first,
Yeah. It is in a weird lane. Because that's how do you want to... This is a movie, especially when you see the characters in it, you want to go and you want this to be a comedy.
Yes.
I mean, right? You want to go and actually laugh.
Yeah, absolutely. It was cute in funny ways, but ultimately, like, not in the way that I wanted out of it. And also what the trailer kind of sold me on. I thought it was going to be very snappy, very,
Especially for a theater release. The one thing about comedies is like you can go and enjoy that as a group.
Yes.
We very rarely get that now.
Yep.
I remember last time I think I had that, honestly, was...
Naked Gun?
Yes. I just didn't partake. But you're right. What was the Nick Cage movie, playing Nick Cage?
Unbearable Weight.
Yes, which is 3 years ago now, I think.
Yeah, crazy.
You know what I mean?
Crazy, yeah.
What's your real quick?
Yeah.
What is your tolerance of Aziz and Seth Rogen, like on screen? Because some people find both of these guys annoying for different ways.
Right, which is kind of rolling the dice, to have both of them on screen. Right. I'll say that they both kind of outstay their welcome a little bit in their own right.
Okay.
It's first Aziz, and then the story kind of shifts to Seth Rogen. The secret hidden character, the secret main character here is Keanu. And that's what kind of saves the movie altogether.
Doesn't surprise me.
Because Keanu's great in this.
And he's just silly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the joke of Keanu. It is. It's the joke of Keanu just being Keanu in this film, probably.
Yep. And all the angels in this are, they've lived for thousands of years, but they're all like naive to just the human experience. So
you're right.
He's kind of childlike. It's the exact realm of Bill and Ted working in this, which I'm just happy to see he still has the knack after, countless John Wicks and whatnot, He still has his original comedy chops.
That's cool.
So I really mean that though. Keanu was the best part about this, and I think that's a big win for the movie. So.
Big win for Keanu.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Right. It really is no mystery, though, folks, that the key to good comedy is timing. And I think a lot of the time, the secret ingredient in comedy movies is often editing. Aziz wears a lot of hats in this movie, but I thought maybe one more hat he could have worn and stepped up a little bit was in that editing specifically. I normally would not go this granular on something like this, but almost every single scene transition is done with the exact same screen wipe. Same style,
really?
Same timing between the screen wipe. It leaves
definitely very
dead air
then.
Sometimes in this. Listen, even though that might not be something you notice while watching or you're like conscious of as watching, it definitely is felt in the setup of jokes because a lot of joke transitions, they all feel the same where, again, I mean, like, all things equal, just in the edit, all things the same, just in the edit, you trim it up a little bit. I think a lot of things hit funnier, especially when we transition to the Order of the Angels or whatnot. There could have been just like funnier edits.
You need to be faster.
Yeah.
Well, if it happened every single time, that's very purposeful. Like he wanted that then.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I really mean that. It is like George Lucas screen wipe. Like it really is like every time. But Yeah, I think it really, my best example I'll point to, if you check out this movie, folks, look at the transitions to those meetings with other angels. There are jokes being told. They all feel like, oddly, a little bit of a drop ball with just like dead air almost. And you're like, okay, on to the next one. Like, why are we like slowly wiping the screen?
Wow, that's funny.
Yeah,
that's really interesting how that can actually ruin your comedy.
yeah.
The editing around it. It's so true, though.
Yeah, exactly. Or at least made something else that could have been an element to be funny amidst all the charmingness, you know? Like I said, I think the best news about this and where this lands in a recommendation is for Keanu Reeves. I feel like just when you get to a certain point, and almost like to the moment that I said it in my brain of like, I'm getting a little tired of Aziz, or I'm getting a little tired of Seth Rogen, they were almost aware of that, and I'm happy to say, Keanu Reeves' character, Gabriel, is really the main character in the story, so he strikes a good balance there. Other than that, I can't really see this bringing back this style of comedy in a big way. Certainly not box office wise. I'm glad to see Ansari was at least able to make what he wanted to see in theaters again, and I think that, maybe not the most financially successful, that is how we're going to get back to comedies on the big screen. Vision, someone going after something that they want to see in theaters. With that said, we're going to go ahead and give Good Fortune a 62.
Okay, 62%. Yeah. That's actually a little bit better than I thought.
Yeah, I would say is pretty solid.
Wow, okay, that's not terrible.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you would say this is a streaming watch, though.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And if anything, probably will thrive a bit more once people can check it out, no strings attached, because it is just so feel good. I mean, if anything, I could see like a little bit of a, not cult, but like a little bit of a following around the film just because it is a good time.
Yeah, a certain type of audience this is going to be for.
Yeah.
I mean, really, if I want to watch a comedy, though, I want something to be humorous. I want it to be smart. I want it to be I want it to catch me off guard type of deal.
Yeah.
But you're right; it does have the Keanu pull to it.
Yeah.
I was watching those two on stage, Aziz and Rogan on stage, kind of talking about it and everything, and talking about just the process of making the film. And Keanu hurt himself on this film. And Rogan was just like, he's done all the John Wicks, he's done the Matrix, and like he fell. I don't know if there's a pool scene or not.
I think so.
Okay, so just like he was just drying himself off, and he slipped, fell on his knee, and like kind of cracked his kneecap.
Jesus.
And he was trying to walk it off and be like, I'm good. And they're like, dude, take a day off. You're not good. But they were just laughing because it's like literally John Wick in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Right. But he hurts
He's
himself
getting
on
hurt
this
with
film.
cars,
Okay, all right. So I have us going to A House of Dynamite next. Like we said, I mean, this is Catherine Bigelow. She's known for The Hurt Locker, first female director ever to win Best Picture and Best Director.
I think so. Yeah.
And that was back in 2008,
9.
And then she also had a lot of acclaim for what's it called?
Zero Dark 30.
Yeah, that was probably because Hurt Locker didn't even do that much box office wise. But it was definitely a platform. It launched Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
Because he got an Oscar nom.
Sure.
So it launched him, and it's just like people just had a bunch of respect for her and the movie. Zero Dark 30 was much more consumable or better for a wider audience.
Yep.
So then she went and did this, not Chicago, whatever it was called. What was it called?
Detroit.
And like I said, it does okay ratings, but nobody really talked about it. Took a huge gap. She did executive produce some stuff. Like she executive produced a movie on Netflix, Triple Frontier. Then she was in the works.
And you've been preaching for some time.
She was in the works to do this movie called Aurora for Netflix.
Okay.
And that was in development, and then they pulled the rug out from under her because she was asking for too much of a budget, and they didn't want to give it to her.
Okay.
But then they kept her in the Netflix house and let her do House of Dynamite, which you can see why it's a cheaper budget. It's a small,
sure.
It's not too grand of...
Yes. Yeah, and even in cinematography, I think it fits what she's going for, but definitely, it's an in-rooms movie.
Yeah, it's a more compact story.
Yeah.
But with that, I love that we got to go see it in theaters, which I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
It's A House of Dynamite. It'll be on Netflix for you Friday night, but let's get us into House of Dynamite.
Yeah, and always, like, it's nice that we're truly, truly covering this before release, so there's,
it's fun. It's fun.
There's a point to the heads or tails on if you check it out. And luckily, I do think House of Dynamite is worth checking out. I honestly would have loved to dedicate a whole week to Catherine Bigelow, especially because she has a lot of early movies that I've been wanting to check out.
OG Point Break.
Yeah, OG Point Break. There's a movie called Strange Days with Ralph Fiennes. Apparently, it's like a cyberpunk movie. Don't really know much about it, but since the 2000s, Bigelow's brand has been strictly around these intense military dramas. Like we said, Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30, and now this, really cementing that genre for her in the same vein. Now, when you look at this film, it mostly seems like the same old song and dance with a bit more focus on like operations than boots on the ground, so to speak. But by the end, I was saying I personally wish Bigelow had any actual real event to adapt or real subject matter to adapt like we get with Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30. Rather than crafting her story around speculation. And we'll obviously get into a little bit of why that comes into play with the ending. But A House of Dynamite is a very tense missile threat thriller that jumps around an ensemble cast to illustrate the many pieces in a crisis response, but how the crisis sits with us individually. Set within the round-the-clock operations of the White House Situation Room, a typical morning is thrown into chaos, sprawling across the country's response systems. Quickly, the situation spirals as the DEFCON number sinks, and the U.S. is placed in a vice grip of a ballistic tension, and all under less than 20 minutes to decide what to do. That's really about it. And I'll say, that summary might be quick and dirty, but it's really only because the film is separated into 3 chapters showing the same events from different perspectives, all structured around a ticking clock that feels like it almost counts down in real time. What do you feel about that? I was really trying to reflect on it.
It was close.
Yeah.
It's not exact, but it is super close. I mean, that's the thing with this. It is, just so you know when you're walking into it, it is a 25-minute movie that you watch 3 times.
Yes, yeah.
Which is hard to do. I usually, one, there's not many films like that.
Sure.
I would never say I would...
Gimmicky for sure, though.
Yeah, but I don't think I would ever be down for that. It's nothing I would get excited about because this is a suspense film. So when you return into the well 3 times, what are you feeling on that second and third time?
Right.
Because it is such the same thing, and it really does kind of feel like the real clock countdown, to your point. But I think the biggest question is how do you pull it off or not?
Yeah.
And I think with what we've got here, she does a pretty good job at building suspense again.
Totally.
Yeah, and that part was impressive. It's like, we're not dealing with an amateur here.
Yeah, I think the risk with it is, like, does it circle the drain a lot? I think, yes, a little bit. I feel like this, with the same scope of the ensemble cast, we could have maybe gotten, like, I don't know, different countries commenting on, what's happening with it. I don't know. There could
really only have one.
Yeah.
It could have been bigger. Again, but it could have been this thing of like, okay, she has this budget to work on.
Yes.
I don't know. I like that they purposely, because the whole idea, you're watching it 3 different times because, I like how the characters that you jump to, you do see or hear from.
Yes.
In the first or second thing, but they very purposely keep them very off to the side.
Yeah.
So you only get the lightest little touch.
Exactly.
So you kind of, just like, let's see this perspective.
Yeah.
I kind of like the second one.
Yeah.
I mean, once when we realized, we're just going to replay this, right away I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah, the real question was it 3 or 4 times?
Right, exactly.
Are we resetting the loop?
And I was just impressed that she was able, with the exact same situation, to get you back into somewhat of edge of your seat territory.
Yes. Yeah.
To your point of, is it going to be 3, 4 times? Are we circling the drain too much?
Yep.
The only other film that keeps on popping up in my head is that one, what's it called? Vantage Point? With Jack from Lost.
Wow. Yeah.
When they're running back that assassination.
Yeah.
Way too many times. Like, talk about circling the drain. That's like 9 times.
This is New Age Vantage Point. Yeah. Definitely a little political mixed with that. Absolutely.
This is better.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen that movie, actually, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's Quaid and Jack.
Yeah, Quaid. But yeah, I think the one positive side of this is that I feel like this is where the ensemble cast is able to step in. You know, this movie is about what the subject matter is. This crisis threat. as much as the story is about like the tactical operations of that, much like her previous movies, it's also about the personal crisis this causes in all of our lives, kind of scrambling to contain it. All of the characters have their own little story, and it may not be the most meat on the bones when it comes to it. That kind of becomes the message of the movie, that containing the crisis starts internally in all of these characters.
So that's where it was losing me the most.
Oh, really?
So we don't get many just operations and procedure movies.
Yeah.
But when it's done really well, and it seems like it's really well researched, which I get from her,
Yes.
like a lot of her movies, I love that because it feels real, and it only helps with the thrillerness of it, with the intensity of it. So I'm all about procedure and operations.
Yeah,
and I want to see people working. I don't want to see people acting. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I want to see these real people.
Yeah.
The fact that, again, since we run it back 3 different times, it's like, we need to get this family story. We need to get what this guy's going through. I actually don't care.
Yeah.
I want to see the people at work doing their procedures and operations.
Right.
Because it's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, she does a great job with like throwing lingo on screen and explains it in text. Like,
Yes.
I'm a Metal Gear fan. Like, I will eat that up all day.
Right,
Like, I want tactical operation information.
Any acronym, right? Any acronyms, where you're like, what does it even mean? She's got you covered.
Exactly.
But I like a well-researched and it taken seriously. I think in a lot of other lesser hands, this could probably just be terrible. I would assume.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think anyone but Bigelow could not do this. Or make it boring.
Now,
at least.
we didn't see the movie, but I can only imagine this is where that World of Worlds film. Out of the many things I'm sure it's horrible in many ways, but that's probably one of them.
Right. It's just we're stuck in rooms and they're trying to make it tense.
Right.
And it's not at all.
And it's not happening.
Yeah, it's just staring at screens.
But the personal family vibe, again, I'm cool with it on that first run around. But as we go along, it's just like, okay, we get it. We get like people, this affects people's lives.
Yeah. And I am on the same page in the sense that like I didn't have a lot of notes for performances, and the only note that I had was Rebecca Ferguson, which she was in that first share.
Yeah.
You know, it hit the hardest because she was like the first to it, and I feel like she was probably, the best actress or actor period in the whole movie. So,
we're definitely Ferguson fans.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like her involvement in the story, being the very first chapter, it really does embody what the movie is about when it comes to mixing kind of a internal emotional crisis and then a very real external crisis management, and that's the movie in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Honestly, sorry if that sounds too abstract, but it's a 20-minute movie. That's I really can't say much more unless we're just doing spoilers, but. I could have easily told you before I saw this, though, my favorite part of Bigelow's modern style is intensity, and this movie has really no issue with that. I mean, it is great. I feel like, if anything, I was really happy we saw this in theaters, because I feel like it wouldn't hit as hard as it did if I was just watching at home.
That's what I think, too.
Yeah, this deserves to be in theaters.
I don't want her to be a Netflix director.
Yeah.
Like, screw that. She deserves to be, in the theater for this.
Absolutely.
That's why, I remember I said weeks ago, I was like, I want to see this in theaters because I want it to be loud and big.
Yep.
Because that's like awesome for her.
Absolutely.
For her content.
Absolutely. The visuals of the film, that's what was kind of keeping me hooked on the story. We have tight, shaky, and constant movements that not only give us like a claustrophobic feeling of these decision rooms, but sells just the spiraling panic of a crisis with, no right answers. No one has the right answers here.
It puts you, this is the, not a theory, but this is the fourth man in the room tactic. So there's somebody in the room that you never see.
Yes.
And it's you.
Yes.
Because you were technically the camera.
I think that's a great read because how much the camera is zooming and focusing on faces and reactions. It feels,
Who does this the best, or what I personally, lately, what I've seen this done the best in is Succession. Does this phenomenally.
Interesting.
It puts you as a character.
Yeah.
You're just kind of not playing.
Sure,
But you're still there.
Yeah. But I feel like there's a lot of touches here that your comparison to War of the Worlds is pretty good because I feel like a lot of these movies, budget-wise, whatever the reason is, they try to just put you in a room and think it's tense enough. Only Bigelow is able to make it tense enough. I mean, I love the sound design of these scenes. Constant ringing phones might annoy you for some audiences, but it's exactly like the camera work. It was a filmmaking technique to elevate the intensity beyond being just stuck in a bunch of rooms.
Yeah.
So really nice touches there. But I have to talk a tiny bit about the ending, however, which, without highlighting just the exact nature of the crisis and what is going on here, it really did affect my feelings on the movie. And I feel like anyone watching this, at home or not, is going to, gonna be affected by it.
Has it changed since you watched it? Because I will ask you this sometimes, because I don't know if you grew on it or not. Or
Yeah. No, I'm kind of about the same, through and through, almost on the whole movie.
I'm kind of right there.
Yeah. In ways, I kind of wanted to check it out once it landed on Netflix, just to, pick apart some specific scenes.
Yeah.
Maybe even go back for some of that lingo, like
I want to watch it again. I will watch it again.
Operations lingo. It was just like, again, like when they make a Metal Gear movie, they better pull that. Maybe Bigelow should direct the Metal Gear Solid movie.
Oh my God, that would be sick. That'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
It's funny with this movie though, because it's like I had my biggest. We'll get into the ending.
Yeah.
Which there's going to be some issues with the ending. Again, I didn't need the constant lovey-dovey thing or the constant reminder that these people have families. I just assumed I don't need that.
Yeah.
But the other thing was, I think, was some logic problems because there's, as the countdown is going.
Oh, I remember you saying that.
I just think there could have been more filler, so I had some logic issues. And part of the reason why we probably kind of feel the same way about the movie now from days ago when we saw it is you saw the movie and then you saw the movie 2 other times. So you can
scrutinize
it
a little
you scrutinize, you go and theorizing. You're just like, oh yeah, no, I definitely do feel this way.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it cemented itself. And just back to like the personal stories, I feel like something about that with the repeat nature of it, like when every character's flavor of their crisis is family oriented, it all kind of becomes the same. You know what I mean?
And why would it not be family? Like, it should be family oriented.
Sure.
I just don't need it. I don't need to know the specifics. If you just want to look away from your people at one point, kind of break down real quick or whatever, if there's a picture on your desk, that's all I need.
Yes.
I don't need anything else.
Yes. If anything, keep it only visual storytelling. Don't, get
Exactly.
Yeah.
And not a huge complaint, but it is,
No, I'm with you 100% because it's great with Rebecca Ferguson, and then it's repeated. The arc essentially is repeated with every character.
Exactly.
But this story structure where the same 20 minutes or so are reset 3 times, there's definitely a factor of it's a little unsatisfying the third time around, like we've been basically saying in all of our feedback on this. But especially because I personally just didn't know how I wanted things to be capped off, and it's what I'm referring to when I say I wish Bigelow had something real to adapt. Not that Hurt Locker is based off of like a real event of a soldier. I don't know. It may be based off like a book or something like that, but she's dealing with real topics that have had some room to breathe on, like, how do you want to end that? Zero Dark 30 deals with a specific event that she has, she can kind of cap the story around.
Yeah.
This deals with a kind of a speculative event that she brings justice, she's able to kind of bring justice to, but like, I didn't know how I wanted it to end, and I feel like she didn't either, or at least the writer didn't, of where to kind of cap things off. But it's a shame because I think the film, unfortunately, does kind of cop out on closing its story a little bit. There's no doubt in my mind, though, I would recommend this film, and definitely something you should check out on Netflix as one of the better you can watch on Netflix. It's very intense. A lot of that intensity is double-edged on how it cuts the characters as well, but it probably would work better if I didn't have in the back of my mind that the format where most people are going to invest their time is on Netflix, and I feel like that's already leaning into the weak spots of the film. With that said, we're going to go ahead and give A House of Dynamite a 69.
House of Dynamite, 69%. I think this is good because we were somewhat hyped on it, but it's not like we were high-fiving when we walked out of the theater.
Yeah.
And the ending was a little bit, okay, a head-scratcher a little bit. But it is that thing of, I feel like a film like this can only be so good when it's just it's same film 3 times. You know what I mean? It can only be so good.
Yep.
But I still just have a lot of appreciation for her that she still pulled it off in a way.
Yeah, and she thrives in this genre of her own of like super intense tactical military like operations.
Kind of awesome. Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. Honestly, the whole thing as far as she had to make up this what could be Storyline, I was okay with it, honestly. I had no issue with that, but I enjoyed it. I really did. I enjoyed the movie, and I probably, when it comes out, I can, if I have time this weekend, I can see myself just flipping it on to get what that feeling is like. And I wouldn't mind revisiting it in general.
Even if it's just for that first chunk with Rebecca Ferguson.
It's true.
You know? Yeah, like I feel like that was really, like that was great.
I like second chunk too, I have to say.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Well, I think we're on, I don't know, we actually didn't talk about it at all. I don't know if we should actually now.
A specific actor?
Yes.
Greta Lee?
No. Yeah, that's right.
Anthony Ramos?
What did you think about Idris Elba?
I didn't mind him as much as you.
Okay.
But there were two things with the Idris Elba storyline that made me laugh a little bit. I don't think I'm ready yet for the word podcast to be brought up. As far as when people say, like, I would rather, instead of saying, like, I was listening to this podcast, I would rather people say, I was listening to this show.
Yes.
Or I was listening to this one guy talk about.
Right.
Something about the podcast thing, just kind of, listen, we have a podcast. I love podcasts. But I laughed when he said the word podcast. I don't know something about it. And there was another thing that was just like, oh, okay, we're doing this, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, true.
Okay, I know. All right, with that, before we get to the number one film at the box office this week here, folks, we want to remind everybody that the daily ratings here, we are completely listener supported. We're not going to be advertising support or advertiser based here where we're going to cut to advertising breaks constantly. You're also not going to see pop-up ads on our site. We're not going to have paywalls or tier structures where you have to give us a certain amount of money to get extra content or specialty shows. We are not dealing with any of that. We're listener supported, and it's any amount that you want. We're going off the value for value model. So what value are you getting from us? And are you enjoying yourself here? You listening to the podcast a whole bunch, or you care just about stopping by once in a while when there's just a movie that you care about specifically? That's different value for different kinds of people, and everyone's on their own finances. So that's why we're doing it this way. If you could, go to thedailyratings.com and head to the donations tab, and everything right there is laid out. Again, we are listener supported via your donations. We do have some set donations there, whether it's buy Vin a movie ticket, Gump Club, become a Godfather, but there's the big value for value button there. So you click that, and it's whatever amount that you want. That's how we're doing it. And then when you donate in, we consider you to be an actual legitimate producer of the daily ratings. Just like in Hollywood, when you financially support a project, you're a producer of the project. And along with your donation, you can also send in a producer note. So write into us. This could be questions, comments, critiques. Ask us anything, say anything. We want to bring you into the conversation because that's another thing of what being a producer is all about. It's a direct through line to you. So again, head to thedailyratings.com, head to the donations tab, and if you could, just support the show if you're having a good time. Checking out the site, listening to the podcast here or there. We appreciate that so much. If you're on a tight budget, get the word out a little bit. You know, if you hear somebody talking about movies or they were listening to some review, get us into those conversations.
Sure.
You know, spread the love, spread the daily ratings name out there a little bit.
Absolutely.
That's another great way to produce as well. So for this week, we do have an executive producer, and we want to thank our monthly donor. We have Joel Villanueva donating in his monthly $3.93.
That's great.
I love it. Yeah, that's the best part. Like it's Joel donates in almost $4 a month, but he donates in every single month. That's how we set it up, and you can do that as well. Whether it's $5 or $500, it really does mean the world to us, and it does help us out, honestly, because we do have as slim of an operation Vin and I are here, and we try to keep it. We still do have monthly and annual costs to kind of keep up, so it means the world. Joel, thank you so much, man. You were an executive producer of episode 209. Anytime you want, go ahead and write in a producer note, and we'll read it during, the producer segment of whenever you write in. We can honor that. If you want to be an executive producer of episode 210 for next Thursday, again, just stop by thedailyratings.com. Okay, Vin, like I said, this had a better than expected weekend. This made close to $30 million.
Go figure.
For a rated R, Blumhouse film.
Yeah.
Second installment of the Black Phone franchise, Black Phone 2.
Which no one thought was going to be a franchise.
Maybe. Well, I mean, it didn't do terrible, and some people like the first one.
Yeah.
You were not thrilled to return to this.
Yeah.
You were thinking that you
wanted to skip it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Why were you hesitant on it? And then most importantly, set up Black Phone 2.
Well, the first Black Phone back in 2021 was, I would say, a decent horror flick. We gave it a 61, mostly working as a callback to the kind of the grimy 70s kidnapping stories that really are in the roots of so many movies in the genre. Also, if you check us out on YouTube, we reposted that as an individual review, so if you want to brush up on that again, that's there. But part of this fundamental horror feeling relates to the story being based on a novel by Joe Hill. Joe Hill is the son of Stephen King, and very much walking in the same footsteps as his father, despite a different pen name. I mean, he'd probably do a lot better if he just leaned into it. I mean, if you're going to write horror anyway, I mean, come on. But honestly, the movie's mild success shows you one thing, and that you don't need much for a horror sequel, or at least Blumhouse does not need much for a horror sequel. And now, separating from that original work, separating from Joe Hill's original novel, our director is running with the concept to bring The Grabber back to the big screen. Black Phone 2 drops the and takes a step away from some of that gritty, grimy realism and becomes much, and I really mean that, much more supernatural in its horror mystery. It's also a horror mystery, I would say, much more than the first film, which was suspense. You're trapped in the room. It felt like Split. It felt like in the Legacy of Silence of the Lambs. You know what I mean? It was a kidnapping story.
Yeah.
This is, let's puzzle together the mystery and the origins of the Grabber. Fundamentally different as a movie, I would say. As a direct sequel, we follow Finn, now a high schooler, along with his sister Gwen, growing up with her powers of premonition, both still haunted by their traumatic experience still fresh in everyone's mind. A point that we'll definitely come back to. I mean, like, everyone knew about the Grabber, but yet they, these kids got to jump through hoops to really prove their case that they're on evil. They're on evil's tail. It's ridiculous. But the victims of the Grabber continue to speak from the dead, reaching out through time to leave breadcrumbs to his earlier crimes. This leads the kids to Camp Alpine Lake, the snow-coated crime site that just might be connected to the siblings' own mother, and a cover-up that needs to be revealed if they are ever going to escape the shadow of this grinning killer. I thought this was a pretty crummy movie, and that's, completely aside from, my initial expectations, not wanting to see it, truly aside. I thought this was a really crummy sequel.
Oh, man.
Both as a sequel and just as a horror movie in general. But stylistically, I would say it does some interesting things that just weren't in the first one. That first one, it's in the 70s. There's a lot of 70s type of touches. Mainly here, there is this retro home movie filter that is used to signify when these characters either snap into the dream world and the spirit world, or overall just kind of communing with the supernatural side of what's going on in this series. This now taking place in the 80s. I thought that evolution was kind of cool. This is not a rehash of kids playing pinball machines, and I feel like that's something I bring up in the original review. But it's just I don't know. It's interesting. I appreciated a little bit in this direction stylistically. It is ultimately just a filter that they throw on. I would have enjoyed these sequences a lot more if real camera tech was used to them to film them. Whether that's shooting on Super 8 or shifting the audio to mono. Honestly, it was a cool touch. I'll give the film credit that. It also feels like it is inspired from more indie horrors that we've gotten as of late, whether that be Skinamarink or Late Night with the Devil, where retro choices are done almost as kind of world building in a way, It is crazy how much Skinamarink stays in my mind.
It does.
It's not even.
It does have some real estate in our mind.
Don't even want to watch it again. It's not even a good movie, really, but it stays in my mind. The writing in this just straight up sucked, though. Not bad enough to make it atrocious, but just consistently lame and chock full of bad one-liners. That shift to 80s it's a real two-edged blade, double-sided sword. I like that they were conscious of like, all right, this is in the 80s now. Let's change this up a little bit.
Yeah.
In the writing department, that's sort of like, no, like stop it. The sister Gwen has these just terrible insults that she throws out, like dinosaur dick or ass wound, and it's just like. Okay. It's rated R too.
Yeah,
like
it is, yeah.
you could just like have fun with cursing kids or something like that. I don't know.
Especially elder teens.
Yeah. But real big eye roll for me on that. The bigger issue I had relates to kickstarting the story again for a sequel. That first Black Phone, I guess Joe Hill gave like an elevator pitch of what he might do for a sequel to the director. And that's what they ran with. So I guess like slightly inspired essentially, but it is what I've called out many times on the show as sequelitis, just like the painful kickstarting the story again to ramp up and just using none of the momentum of what was the last movie we just saw, maybe even in order, maybe back to back if you're watching a series that this is going to be. This whole camp plot line was just such a waste of time and uses just zero momentum of the previous movie. This new mystery story structure around earlier victims just becomes so blah, piecing things together. You can feel this clearly because it's obvious to us as the audience, the answer, that, okay, they hit the nail on the head. Like, yep, you found them. Like, we know that it's you found the right spot. It's obvious to our main kids that are speaking to the dead directly, but yet every other adult character becomes a roadblock to stretch out the runtime and the plot. I mean, in this story, the grabber incident is like widespread knowledge. I don't want to say like countrywide, but like it is known.
It's a story.
Yeah. So having to reset things with new adults to need to discover the evil for themselves just becomes such an eye roll. Like it's just like
it's wasted time.
Yeah, it's just like, come on, like you're talking to the kids that went through the incident, right. And you know of the incident, like maybe let's just keep it rolling, maybe you don't need to like come to the truth yourself about the grabber, and it just slows things to a crawl. The absolute worst area is with the owners of the camp, which are two like Christian couples. They throughout the movie, they are the chief example of like, oh, I don't believe it. What you kids up to now? And even after seeing multiple supernatural events, there's a character that is lifted off the ground and floats in front of them. They're just like, I don't know. Like, shut up. Actually shut up. Like, this is not conflict. This is where I shit on Blumhouse. Like, this is Blumhouse bleeding out a 50-minute script to reach feature length. Like, this is where Blumhouse are making these films in a cynical or manipulative way, even. Like, it's like, this is not a feature-length movie. This is a episode of the Black Phone TV show that doesn't exist, It's just so disappointing. So disappointing.
Not surprising.
Yeah, I guess. But just, so frustrating. Like,
yeah, there's just easy stuff that they absolutely should have done, and they didn't do.
And you know what I mean, though? Like, just like, have momentum coming off of this.
Right? No, for sure.
Know?
Well, everyone.
If there's a 2 in the title, it better feel like 2.
Yeah, especially the only people returning to this is people that know 1.
Yeah.
So just keep it going.
Exactly.
Absolutely, of course.
Exactly. But I'll end with talking about Ethan Hawke as the grabber himself. Okay. He's on the edge of his seat. I guess he's not going anywhere. They really want the grabber to, kind of enter the pantheon of horror icons with this. They really made him.
You want to be like one of the Saw guys, basically?
Or like Michael Myers, or
it's just not happening.
I'm telling you, they're able for it.
Yeah.
It's all down Blumhouse's pantheon. I mean, there's definitely more sequels to come off of this. Let's just say that. Yeah. So, especially if this is, recovering its budget or doing, halfway decent. I think also with the box office, what do you think about this? There is a surprising lacking amount of horror in, coming for like proper releases in October.
Yeah, even just the year as a whole, we've had less horror come out than the past. Well, for the past 3 years of doing the podcast, they've finally kind of took it easy on the horrors.
Yeah.
They were really going out a lot.
Which is good.
But the weird thing is this would be the month to do it.
Yeah.
And it is a little quiet. It is a little quiet. The fact that we're getting good fortune. A lot of movies came out around this week. Like we didn't cover Roofman or anything like that.
Yes, that's right.
And it almost kind of feels a little dumpy, like a little dumpy area as far as like studios. Hey, we've got these films. They're relatively okay. They have big stars, but we got to throw them in a week where a bunch of other stuff's coming out.
Yeah, they're going to get gobbled up towards,
Right.
The later.
This is the only horror one, which is crazy.
It's wild. So I think, this is probably going to, do work in the box office in the coming weeks.
For the next couple of weeks,
But for what it's worth, Ethan Hawke, he's a lot creepier now. They basically upgraded this character to some kind of Freddy Krueger supernatural force. He's attacking kids in like their dreams and shit like that. So that's kind of cool. There are some scenes that were a little scary.
Nightmare on Elm Street-ish?
Yes, absolutely.
That's what they're going for, basically?
Yes, for sure. And that's what I mean with like the shift in supernatural, his depiction here, I feel like it's scary in a new direction, but it's lacking the bite of that original film. That original film, he was a creepy magician with a van.
Yeah.
It was a very real, gritty kidnapping thriller in the way that, 70s...
It's unsettling.
Yeah, it was messy. It was, again, the actual movie itself, once we're in the basement with the kid, it basically functions like a Split or something like that, where it's like, how do I get out? It's survival. Here... It's so in a different direction that I really don't feel like it resembles the original movie at all. The horror in the Black Phone worked like any real kidnapping scenario, and the hopelessness that is created, the dread that is created, it was in a very real way. I have no issue if they need to make more of a monster out of the grabber for sequels to come, but it just makes me wonder what they thought worked in the first film if this is what we got as the follow-up. We're going to go ahead and give Black Phone 2 a 47.
A 47, subpar, sub 50, and you got exactly what you were expecting. I think basically if you like this kind of stuff, there's just some people like this stuff. Some people like this type of horror.
Yeah.
And they're going to turn it on and they're going to enjoy themselves. It's just
Ethan Hawke is very hammy in this. There is an enjoyability of just like, you want to see a crazy monster villain, you got one.
And it's
here.
Ethan Hawke. You're right. If this is going to do well, it is going to make money. It's so now we have Black Phone in the 90s. We'll have Black Phones Y2K, right? And we can work our way through the decades if we want.
The cell phones. It writes itself. It writes itself.
Oh man. Okay. All right. So I guess there's an audience out there for somebody for it.
Yeah.
And as in the next 2 weeks, it probably will continue to do well.
I think it has more runway.
It doesn't have much competition in this lane, at least.
Exactly.
Because there's still a lot of movies coming out, like I said. Okay, 47% for that. Any closing notes? Anything to touch on for these three films?
That's about it for these three films. We can bridge over to next week.
Yeah. Well, one thing quick on Roofman, too. I'm almost thinking this is kind of maybe one that fell through the cracks. I almost had no hope for it. Apparently, it's getting some good. I've listened to some good reviews of this film.
Yeah.
And the director is Derek Cianfrance.
Okay.
Cianfrance. He did Blue Valentine and The Place Beyond the Pines.
Oh wow!
So he's
very different tonally. From
I know.
Him.
And now he's kind of doing this comedy.
But that makes me think it maybe has some substance to it. Then
right. Well, right, because you look at what's his face, and we just can't gravitate towards him.
What, Channing?
Yes, Channing Tatum. Yeah.
All right. Well,
anyway, we'll see how it kind of
continues
to do, or what people say. But it's not doing well in the theater, in the box office. But
right.
Critic wise, it's some people giving it love.
Yeah,
that's all. But yes, for next week.
Yeah. Okay. So horror wise, we have really stayed away for the month. I would say next week is going to be our chance to strike at some horror. In theaters, we have Shelby Oaks. YouTube reviewer alum Chris Stuckman. He graduated, and it is his time to see if he has the,
finally
put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
No.
So people listening, Chris Stuckman is a very.
He's a classic YouTube movie reviewer.
Yes, he started on YouTube years and years ago. So just naturally being in the game that long, he has a big following.
Yep.
And he has been, this is a GoFundMe type deal project?
I think so, yeah. It's definitely a little bit of crowdfunding, but similar jump as the Filippo brothers when we talk about like YouTubers first into film talent, you know.
But basically, reviewer now turning behind the lens, which we have a lot of appreciation for, just for the fact of, he actually did it, because all of us just really want to make movies in the end.
Yeah.
And but this was in development hell. There were reshoots. Then I think it took a little bit more money. We have been waiting and waiting for this.
Yeah, there were, I think, 2 pushes throughout the year.
Stuckman, I know you kind of had, just as far as, I don't know how much we want to get into it, but Stuckman also, since he's been working on this film, has kind of made a rule that he will only actually post movie reviews of movies he liked.
Yes. And listen, no hate on it, but obviously, you know.
Different route, you know.
Yeah, it's a different route. I feel like I have kind of almost an existential problem with a reviewer that doesn't criticize, but
it's like when a review of his pops up on a movie, I mostly either watch it because it's like, oh, well, I know he liked it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, quick and dirty. But listen, rooting for him, and honestly, the only proper horror release during Halloween. So. Shelby Oaks.
How did he get that release? Why are there not more movies coming out?
Yeah, and
Stuckman's going to make money. He might make money.
He might run away with this. We also have very excited Chainsaw Man, the movie Reza Arc. This acts as the second season to Chainsaw Man entirely, and then the show will return for a third season, essentially, with this movie in between. Very excited to cover it. I think what I'm going to do, and I don't know, we don't have to workshop this right now, but
what do you got?
I want to do 2 other horror movies off my list, and the big thing is, do we skip the Springsteen movie? Because that is next week as well.
It's a hard one to skip. It's a hard one.
The thing is, I kind of like the trailer.
You do?
I kind of do. I don't know.
That's hard to. Oh boy.
Yeah. Listen, if you don't think we should skip it,
I don't think we should skip it. The real question is do we push it a week? But at that point, the juice is gone.
Yeah, the juice is gone. Well, then that's the 5 spot. But as far as additional movies off the list, I do want to watch something just like, actually, that I hope will scare me. You know what I mean?
Something on your list. Something.
Yeah, I hope for that for Shelby Oaks, honestly, but we'll see.
Okay, all right. Well, check into the new show on Tuesday, and we'll get that list knocked down for you, or out there for you. Other than that, Vin, any other notes? Roll credits? What do we got?
No, that's about it.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you watching these 3 movies this week. Folks at home, we'll run it down one more time. So we've got Good Fortune with a 62%, A House of Dynamite with a 69%, and Black Phone 2 with a 47%. Thanks, as always, for hanging out with us week after week. We appreciate it. It's always a good time. We'll see you on the new show on Tuesday, and we'll see you right back here with Vincent Daly next Thursday on the Daily Ratings Podcast. And hey, if you enjoyed the podcast, if you would, give us a good rating or get the word out and tell a friend about us. And just a reminder that the Daily Ratings is completely producer supported. We want to stay away from advertising, and we don't want to have any paywalls or tier structures or subscriptions. It's all just value for value. So, are you finding value in what we're doing here at the Daily Ratings? Then become a producer and donate whatever amount of value that is. Just go to the donations tab on thedailyratings.com, and while you're there, be sure to check out the massive amount of films that Vince has rated. So thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you next time on the Daily Ratings Podcast.